Welcome back everybody to a special episode of Direct Comparison. In today's episode, we're going to tackle one of the most controversial gaming topics in the past couple decades, the console war. We're going to be directly comparing the two most powerful gaming consoles available, the Sony PlayStation 4 and the Microsoft Xbox One. For the sake of time, we're only focusing on these two consoles, and both PC and Nintendo will not be acknowledged. Now I'm going to try my best to avoid opinions here and focus on just the numbers for the fairest judgment, but for the record, I do own both platforms and enjoy playing games on both. So to do this comparison properly, we're going to have to compare these two systems based off of a few properties. First off, the overall raw power. What components do these systems utilize? What hardware drives the games, and which controller is best? Next up, we'll look at the system's user interface, in addition to the quality of the online services provided. Which system has an easier to navigate interface, and which has the more stable and reliable online community. Now obviously this category is more subject to personal preference, but it's worth mentioning either way. And most importantly, we'll be comparing the quality of the games themselves. What exclusive titles are offered on these systems, what games are coming out, and which system is simply the best to play new games on. Again, there's potential for bias here, so I'll be judging these games based off of their overall Metacritic review scores. Now for the sake of this review, we're going to be ignoring the price point, but that is always something to consider if you're undecided, so I highly recommend checking the current prices available and decide if the features justify the expense for whatever you choose. Alright, so first up, hardware. One important aspect of a video game console is the actual hardware used to drive the power of the system. The standard PlayStation 4 has a single chip custom-made processor with an 8-core Jaguar CPU clocked at about 1.6 GHz, and a 1.8 teraflop AMD graphics chip. It comes equipped with 8GB of GDDR5 RAM clocked at 5500 MHz and 500GB to 1TB of internal storage, depending on the version you buy. It also utilizes a standard Blu-ray drive capable of playing Blu-rays and DVDs. The newer PlayStation 4 Pro also runs a single-chip custom-made processor with an 8-core Jaguar CPU, but clocked about 33% higher at 2.1 GHz. The Pro also sports 4.2 teraflops on its AMD-based graphics chip. It also comes with 8GB of GDDR5 RAM clocked at 2100 MHz, and comes with 1TB standard of internal storage. Once again, it comes with a standard Blu-ray drive, meaning it does not have the capability to play Ultra HD Blu-rays. The standard Xbox One has a custom 8-core Jaguar CPU as well, clocked at 1.75 GHz, which is slightly higher than the standard PS4 model. The GPU, however, is only capable of pushing 1.3 teraflops, which is likely why the original Xbox had a difficult time competing in terms of raw power with the original PS4. The Xbox One also comes with 8GB of GDDR5 RAM clocked at 2100 MHz, again slightly weaker than the RAM on the PS4, and comes standard with a 500GB hard disk that could not be replaced. Now the Xbox One X, on the other hand, is the ultimate powerhouse. It sports a 2.3 GHz 8-core Jaguar CPU and a 6 teraflop custom AMD GPU, both of which are significantly more powerful than any other console. The system comes with 12GB of GDDR5 RAM and a 4K UHD Blu-ray drive, making it the only console system capable of playing Ultra HD Blu-rays. So based on the hardware alone, Microsoft's Xbox One X is easily the most powerful system, without a doubt. But we still have some more categories to consider first. Let's look at the system's default controllers and various controller options. With the PlayStation 4, we have the DualShock 4, a reliable and sturdy controller with excellent button placement and a sleek design that I personally find very comfortable. However, the rubber joysticks aren't the best, and I ended up switching them with metal pads that feel much better. The Xbox One controller is also very comfortable, though I personally don't like the placement of the joysticks on this controller. If you want to select something via the D-pad, you're forced to take your left thumb off the movement joystick temporarily, whereas on the DualShock, you could theoretically stretch your left pointer finger down to the D-pad without ever needing to let go of the joystick. In terms of actual build quality, they both feel very solid, but the Xbox Elite controller for the Xbox One, which is sold separately and priced pretty high, is easily the most durable and weighty controller I've ever used, and I often use it for playing some of my PC games. The battery life seems to be much longer on the Xbox One controllers, as I feel I'm constantly swapping DualShock 4s while playing long game sessions on the PS4 Pro. but I do love the extra share button on the DualShock 4, making it way easier to record content than the awkward Xbox One user interface. And that brings us to our next topic, the actual system interface. Now this one is straightforward and again, may be entirely your preference in the end, but the Sony PlayStation menu has always been a cleaner and simpler menu to understand for me. Granted, the PS4 initially had a sloppy menu with only recently played applications appearing in a long line, making it really annoying to find a game you wanted to play. The Xbox One menu lets you create your own grid of applications, but the actual main menu can't be customized as much as I'd like, and functions similarly to the PS4 menu, with the most recently played applications appearing on the front page. Advertisements for programs appear on both menus and can be distracting, but once you've had the systems for a while, you start to notice them less and less. In terms of actual responsiveness, both menus function excellently even when the systems are under full load playing a game. Pressing the Xbox or the PlayStation button will immediately return the player to the system's menu, and you can even suspend programs and return to them later, a very nice feature for players who just want to take a break and watch some Netflix. Now let's talk about the online services and quality of the connection. Now this is an interesting topic because there seems to be a lot of false information about one system over the other when it comes to this. The claim I've heard for years now is that the Xbox Live service is better than the PlayStation Network. Most of the claims are backed by the big hack that happened back in 2011 that knocked the PSN service offline for nearly a month. But the problem with this claim is that the Xbox service is not immune. About 3 years ago, both Sony and Microsoft had their online services effectively shut down thanks to a DDoS attack that made it impossible for players to log on to their new holiday consoles. Both services were shut down for several days. So yes, Microsoft does have a better track record in this regard, but it's not really a good argument to say one is better than the other considering how rare and unpredictable this kind of thing is. In terms of actual networking speed, both systems appear to be throttling network usage despite users with high-speed connection. On both my Xbox One X and PS4 Pro, my 100 MB per second download speed is reduced to only 35 to 50, and it's really down to the digital services, not the hardware. Both systems utilize the same servers online and could theoretically play against each other if Sony signed the agreement and allowed for cross-platform play. So honestly, the online connectivity is pretty much identical and a null argument when comparing these two systems. However, one thing that is worth noting is the subscription services provided by both systems, which are now required to have access to online gameplay on both. PlayStation Plus, a service that was originally an optional feature for the PS3, provides access to online video game communities in addition to providing a few select games each month for PS4, PS3, and the PlayStation Vita. It costs $60, and in 2017 alone, the service provided gamers with $1,287 worth of complimentary games. Meanwhile, the Xbox Live service also costs $60 a year, and only provided $1,029 worth of games to customers via their Games for Gold package. One thing to take away here is that the average Metacritic score, that is, the average ratings for games provided, was 77% for Xbox Games for Gold, whereas the games provided by Sony sat at an average of only 71%. And that brings us to our final topic, the games themselves. Now for this analysis, we're going to ignore third-party games and focus only on platform-exclusive titles. Some of these titles may eventually become cross-platform in the future based on rumors, but this list is focused on what is confirmed for now. First up, I found a list of every exclusive game for both platforms. I then looked up each game's Metacritic score and compiled a list of the highest rated games for both platforms. I then color-coded the games based on whether they scored in the 90% range, the 80% range, or anything lower. After doing this, we can easily see that the PlayStation not only has the most exclusive titles, but better quality exclusives as well. Games like Bloodborne, The Last of Us Remastered, Persona 5, and The Shadow of the Colossus all scored high in the 90% range. Xbox games, however, are mostly in the 80% range, with a majority of these games being Forza racing games. There's also a disturbingly low amount of variety with Xbox games. You only really have the choice of Gears, Halo, or Forza, with very few exceptions like Sunset Overdrive or Dead Rising. Meanwhile, Sony seems to have the most success with their third-person action-adventures like Uncharted, Horizon Zero Dawn, Infamous, and The Last of Us, while their exclusive shooters and racing games seem to not impress. If we calculate the average Metacritic score for the top 10 best games in both lists, the PS4 has an 89.5%, and the Xbox One averages at 84%. Well, what about upcoming games? Well, it's not really fair to say that one system has better upcoming games if we don't really know what they're going to play like, but we can look at how many games are on the horizon. The PlayStation 4 currently has 11 exclusive titles in the works, with 2 of those being remasters. The Xbox One only has 3. So to summarize, the Xbox One X is now the most powerful console on the market. But due to Sony's success early on in this console cycle, the PS4 is still the way to go, as it has a healthier community and a larger variety in its game library. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos posted every week.